discovered that my wife cheated on me with a man she met at an event. So I exposed to the affair to everyone. My wife, 32 female, and I, 35 male, have always wanted kids. We tried our hardest to make this a dream. She mentioned to me early on when we started dating how she wanted to be a mom. This was 10 years ago, and I told her that if we got married, I would make that dream a reality. She said she would like that. So 5 years into dating, we got married. It was a small ceremony, but my wife and I weren't too sure. We types. We like to keep things simple. I had a job at a bank, and she worked as a graphic designer at a company. I know she and my best friend Greg worked together because he was the marketing director. He had a girlfriend that he loved deeply, and we would go out on double dates together. Greg also knew how much I wanted to be a father and constantly supported me. My wife and I tried, and for a while we did everything we could to get pregnant from different home remedies too, even talking to doctors. However, no matter how much we tried, it didn't work. I was desperate, and while we didn't want to do IVF if we could, it almost came down to it. My wife was growing upset because of this. She told me to take a sperm test, but I was told I was healthy as a horse. She was healthy too. One night after talking, I said that I would pray and see if maybe God would answer. I'm not religious, but I did it for her. Perhaps it was out of desperation or something else. Then about a month later, my wife, Mr. Period, we thought it was it. We took a pregnancy test and she was pregnant. We were so happy about this, and I was ecstatic. However, we lost it shortly after. My wife was devastated, but I told her that we would try again. We always could. We tried again a couple of months later. She did get pregnant, but then she lost it. We're not sure why, I told her. The third time's the charm. So it was on our third attempt. She was pregnant. The doctor monitored her like a hawk to make sure her baby lived. We went through the first 8 weeks with no problem. We held our breath as she went through the first trimester. She made it by week 12. The doctor believed we were in the clear. He also told us that we'd be having twins. To think after all of this, trying all of these attempts, we finally had twins. I told Greg, and he was happy. My wife was glowing. Everything seemed like it was perfect until week 24. My wife woke me up in the middle of the night panicking because she didn't feel the babies moving or kicking. She cried out in pain and raced to the bathroom. She went to the bathroom and she reported there was blood. We immediately went to the earth. Sure enough, she lost the babies. The doctor had to dilate her to evacuate them, removing them from the uterus. They induced partial labor into her. After it was over, my wife was hollow, like she lost a part of herself. After that, everything changed. She didn't want to try again. Not after the last time. It traumatized her. It killed me inside. I wanted to help her to be there for her. I took her out to dinner, double dating with Greg and his girlfriend. It surprised me that Greg wasn't engaged, but he told me that they were in the process of getting a house so they could move out of their place. After that, my wife drowned herself in her work. I tried to get her to come down and watch movies or go out, but she didn't want to. Greg was busy as well. I thought about asking Greg if my wife was acting all right, but he said she was just a little stressed out. They had a huge deadline to work with. My wife was constantly gone, and when she came back, she seemed almost exasperated with me. I asked her what I did wrong, and she said nothing. I saved some money and asked her if we should try IVF. She said no, she didn't want to. It made me upset because it felt like I was the problem. Maybe I was, but I even had doctors check me out to make sure everything was okay. My wife became different, almost like a shell of a person. She would hide her phone, becoming more secretive. One night while she was showering, I needed to find my phone. I pressed the Find My Android function. The phone rang, but it wasn't mine. It was my wife's, which she left in a bag. Curiosity got the better of me when I opened it. I turned it off. But I saw text messages from Greg on there. They didn't show up on the lock screen, but they were there when the home screen appeared. They were flirty texts. I opened up the rest of the messages. Sure enough, they were more of the same. Pictures were sent, and my wife even said Greg could put a baby in her. Greg mentioned that his girlfriend was nice, but he could make her dreams come true of being a mom. It disgusted me. I spent all this time with that dream only to hear my best friend doing this. I had to get back at them. One night while she worked late, I set up my plan. I placed an order for a marketing strategy using a fake name. I came after hours despite them saying they were closed. The door was open and I walked inside. When I got to the floor where she worked, I heard sounds. They were having sex. I stepped inside red in the face as Greg literally said to my wife, "You would put a baby in her." I was livid. I told my wife she was a cheater and I knew everything. She begged and pleaded with me to listen, saying that Greg could be a surrogate for them. But I was disgusted. She cheated on me all because she wanted something that I couldn't give to her. When I got home, I packed my things and got a hotel. I took video evidence and sent it to her boss, firing both of them after the divorce went through. I got everything. My wife cheated, and I spent all this time thinking it was a problem when really it was her. I sold the house and got a condo far away, working at another bank. I'm not dating anymore. I don't want to. After all that happened, Greg and I aren't friends anymore. I told his girlfriend and they broke up. I don't know what happened to Greg and my wife. Maybe they got together. Maybe not. All I knew was with no house and no job. Their lives were much harder. My wife falsely accused me and told everyone that I abused her after I caught her cheating with a guy. My wife cheated on me multiple times throughout the course of the last few months. I had a sneaking suspicion pretty much immediately when the affair started. However, she was so convincing when I talked with her. I was never vindictive or overly confrontational when I brought it up. But man, when I did, she flipped the script on me like I'm some kind of bad guy for trying to discuss our relationship and questioning her integrity. Anyways, I found out she was constantly on her phone and one night not proud of this. I did what I had to do and read her text messages. I confronted her the next morning about the affair and she lied. I confronted her again, this time telling her I have seen her text messages and she lied again. Finally, I had to literally recite some of the messages I read and she just fell silent. Her response to all of this was not to apologize, but instead she told me if I didn't push her to that point, she never would have done it. I know I'm an anonymous stranger on the internet, but guys, when I tell you I've never in my life done anything to my wife that would make her cheat, I'm not kidding. I've never been physical with her, never yelled at her, never really done anything that would make me question my own integrity. Truly, I'm not perfect, but I honestly have been a good husband to her. Well, now, living with her husband. He. She is telling anyone and everyone we know that I have emotionally abused her even after finding out I have never been mean, yelled, etc. I've told her I'm heartbroken and we're definitely getting a divorce. But honestly, that's where it starts and ends. Every little word that comes out of my mouth, she twists like I'm some kind of bad guy. She claims I'm gaslighting her, which is crazy because she is gaslighting me. She's always mean and confrontational when I see her. And honestly, I don't really say anything because I just know it'll be taken the wrong way or twisted in a way I didn't intend. And she'll start an argument. What do I do? Why is she being so horrible? Shouldn't I be the one mad at her? Honestly, I just want to coast out this divorce process and move on. But she is so overly combative. It's making a cordial divorce very, very difficult. At first, her gaslighting was getting to me. I was questioning myself hard, but I've had some time to step back and think rationally. And what she is claiming simply is not true. Someone help a brother out because I'm struggling. Edit one holy crap. The amount of advice and support I've gotten from you all is mind-blowing to anyone that contributed. I truly mean 7. This. Thank you. Edit 2. It's been a day since I posted. I implemented the Grey Rock method immediately following this post and it is working. It's driving her crazy and in return, keeping me grounded. This post has saved my sanity. Thank you all so much. Edit 3. I am happy to report I implemented the Grey Rock method yesterday and it was absolutely mind-blowing the reaction I got. She was saying incredibly mean/vindictive things, trying to draw a reaction and I showed zero emotion. Simply walked away. 10 minutes later, she found me and was being incredibly nice. Complete 180-degree flip again, Grey rocked. Case in point, it absolutely is driving her bonkers. And I can see it. I am seeing firsthand every interaction she has with me is catered towards drawing a reaction, and her approach in doing so is calculated. Jesus, I am so happy I came to the sub. This post has saved my sanity. I have no words. The people here are amazing. Update 1 been 3 weeks since my original post, so I figured I'd post an update. Long story short, my wife had an affair and was really making me feel horrible about myself, turning her friends against me like I'm a monster, and genuinely just being a really uncharacteristically awful human being. If you're going through the divorce process, or your spouse cheated on you and is making you feel bad about it, I feel like I have some solid stuff to share. My soon-to-be ex-wife and I are well on our way through the divorce process now. I didn't kick the can too much on the divorce, didn't second-guess myself, kept the course, and because of that, I'm almost free. My soon-to-be ex has done and said some extremely crazy, illogical, and hurtful things along the way. At this point, every word she says further seals this divorce and solidifies my decision. I've been told I made her cheat. I've been told I abused her. Definitely not. I've been gaslighted on multiple occasions during our settlement that the morally right thing to do is X, Y, Z, and the list goes on. Sometimes I wonder if she's even living on planet Earth with how she's thinking about things. This divorce has opened my eyes quite a bit, and I'm realizing I was a little bit of a sucker. I love with my whole heart, and because of that, I've allowed her to manipulate my emotions along the way. Question myself, etc. I fell into an empathy trap. And what I mean by that is I empathized with her even when the things she thought or said made no sense. I unintentionally fueled completely irrational thoughts. The script has been flipped entirely. She doesn't even know how to interact with me when she can no longer manipulate me. Thank you to all of your wonderful people who recommended Grey Rock. And because of that, the only thing she can do is get mad, explode, etc. Essentially go into an unprovoked rage. If I snapped one day and called her every name in the book, it would be the equivalent of resuscitating her. It would give her relief, not make her feel worse, which is twisted in every way. But I know it's the truth anyways. I haven't given her an inch. Not a single inch. I'm not mean. I'm not aggressive. I'm not vindictive. I'm none of those things and never have been. I'm confident. I'm grounded and I'm thinking rationally, logically, not letting my heart take the wheel, not slipping up or losing my cool, and certainly not letting her manipulate me any further. She's still in her cheater's fog. She still feels justified for her decisions, etc. I have not and doubt I ever will receive an apology. Not from her anyhow. Her family has apologized profusely, which is appreciated but doesn't necessarily cover up the hurt I experienced. I will admit in this moment, the hurt I see in her family far outweighs the hurt I feel for losing my wife. They're good people. It is unfortunate the apple fell far from the tree in a few short weeks. I'm a free man. Not sure when the fog will be lifted for her, but I do have sympathy for her to a capacity. There will be a day she wakes up. A day where reality/real life catches up with her. Don't know if that's a few months, a year, or half a lifetime, but it'll come. There will be a day. She is sitting in her apartment/home alone, and the burning flame she had will begin to die out. I empathize with her because the pain she will feel in that moment will be exactly what I felt, absolutely crushed, physically sick to my stomach, and an emotional mess. Truly, I was a phenomenal husband. It is now and always has been my personality to be a chipper, smiling face for her, jovial, and a rock-solid shoulder to lean on. Reliable, loyal, and loving would all be understatements, and she will grow to recognize that she hit the lotto on her first go-round and took the marriage to pieces with what she'll one day recall as the biggest mistake of her life. A fling, an exciting affair, etc. Did not and never will be able to replace a lifetime partner who understands and willingly accepts genuine commitment. She will one day learn and understand that I've put in my time. I've experienced the hurt. I've reflected on myself, our marriage, and what led us to this point. I sought professional counsel to make sure I was giving myself the opportunity to decompress my thoughts and emotions. I've read literature. I've critically analyzed myself and my behavior to try and pinpoint exactly what it was that led her to do what she did. Fact is, nothing I did led her to cheat. Nothing. I wasn't perfect. Nobody is. But I loved her. I would work and make sacrifices for her. And the fact of the matter is, that wasn't a two-way street. The lies, the manipulation, all of the wild things. She says she truly may believe. But they're not coming from a place of rationality. She gave up on a marriage that I was putting 100% effort into and had an affair on someone that would have gone to the moon and back for her. It destroyed my confidence. Not going to lie. But in these moments of absolute emotional agony and adversity, it will make me a better man on the other side. Guys, seriously, if you're unhappy in a marriage, communicate, do not cheat. And if you do cheat on it, look internally. Don't further hurt those people around you and blame them. Hundreds of hours of ruminating, thinking about myself, blaming myself, etc. All could have been prevented by a simple phrase from my soon-to-be ex. Hey, I'm sorry I have to up. I don't know if anyone here needs to hear this, but if you're currently playing the blame game down on your daughter, feeling like you took a hit to your confidence, etc., stop. Reflecting on yourself is powerful, and I think critique is good to a capacity, but you don't drive someone to an affair. You cannot accept blame for another individual's character flaw, period. If things are messed up, you've tried counseling, gone down every avenue to correct things, etc. A divorce is the appropriate next step, not a secret affair. I'll leave you with this. My soon-to-be ex looked me directly into my eyes and said with 100% confidence, I'm not the type of person to have an affair. That's not who I am. You led me to that point. If you've ever heard that phrase before, or hear it in the future, package it up in a pretty box. Make sure it's nice and sealed, and shove it right where the sun doesn't shine. That doesn't even make sense. I'd love to rob a bank and tell the officers I'm not the type of person to rob a bank. And the government made me do it, but I'm a rational adult, and that's now how it works. Thanks for reading and allowing me to share my thoughts, and thank you for all of the advice on my original post. This sub has been monumental in my sanity for the past 3 weeks. Edit. How did you respond when she said that she made that comment while finalizing our settlement agreement? You're a strong-willed and independent adult. Under no circumstance did I lead you to do what you did, and I will not accept blame for that. If you'd like to sideline the settlement agreement now, that is fine. But I don't feel we can have a productive session if we're making comments like that. If that's not 100% verbatim, it's very close. We were able to finalize the settlement agreement. That comment infused the situation enough that, or demonstrated to her that I wasn't going to be manipulated. So she stopped trying. Sounds very harsh, but trust me when I say if I gave her an inch, she would have taken a mile. I could not entertain her, or it would have been disastrous. When does the idea of cheaters fall just mean they're an idiot? At this point, I see no benefit from this term or idea. It's just another way to make excuses, and the whole term should go away. It makes me sad when I see victims use it. No one who gets injured by people doing meds uses that to justify the damage that is done. And chemical impairment is a much more tangible and universally accepted than this fog is. I use the term cheater's fog because I got many good years out of my marriage where cheating was never present. You're correct. It can be synonymous with idiot because I believe to a capacity or someone who has the capability to cheat or you're not. It's not a blurred line in one's morals. It's the definition black and white. I use fog because there may be a day where the fog lifts and she realizes, oh wow, I actually have to up my marriage. That was legitimately my fault. Or hey, there may not. But the fact of the matter is, there are people who ruin their first relationship/marriage, recognized it was their character flaw, got help and will never do it again. It's hard work and it's truly rewiring some of your core beliefs, but it can be done. Update 2. I came here a few months ago looking for advice on how to handle my wife. She had an affair on me, then when confronted, blamed me for her affair. Her stance has been relentless in that fact, and she's made it her personal mission to communicate with anyone and everyone. We know that she's leaving because the past few years we haven't been getting along. To clarify, things between us have historically been phenomenal. Literally 1 year ago, when this emotional affair that turned into a physical one began, it was like a switch was flipped, and I couldn't comprehend why. As I'm sure a lot of you guys already know, that's hoopla. It was so sudden and unexpected. To use the word confused would be an understatement. I was like Mega Husband 2.0, destroying it at work, making sure I was often home for her. No later than 6 p.m. and putting every inch of effort I could into my marriage. From making dinner to date nights to weekend adventures, you name it. I was doing everything in my power to cater to my marriage, and I'm not saying that haphazardly or trying to convince myself of it. She was top of mind in everything I did over the course of that year. She kept telling me it wasn't enough. I genuinely could not wrap my head around it. I would always ask, please help me understand what exactly isn't enough. Is it my time? Do you need more? Do you need less? Is it our friends? Too many date nights, not enough. I need direction here.